Okay, class. So let's continue to practice calculating unknown values given a situation. Okay. So as usual, before you start, you always want to remind yourself what the two formulas for circumference are. So the first one that deals with radius is going to be c equals 2 pi r. That's literally just the formula to calculate circumference if given the radius, okay? But it seems like in these problems, we'll be dealing with diameter. So the alternative formula that we use is c equals pi times diameter, okay? So in these three examples, they give us the circumference. We technically know that pi is equal to 3.14. Pi is always going to be 3.14 whenever we do a problem in this class. Always use 3.14 as the approximation. And really, if you just take the circumference class and divide it by the by pi, you will get the diameter. Okay, so I'm going to even write something else on the side. A diameter, by definition, is the ratio of a circle's circumference divided by pi. That's the definition of a diameter, right? Another alternative definition. Of course, we know that the diameter is kind of like this chord that passes through the center. But the diameter of a circle can always be found if you just take the circumference of a circle and just divide it by pi. So using that knowledge, let's go ahead and calculate. The bike's wheel has a circumference of 76.9, and we know that the diameter is equal to c divided by pi. So in this case, the diameter will have to equal 76.9 divided by 3.14. Let's go ahead and use our calculator. So 76.9 divided by 3.14 is going to equal 24.49. It does say round to the nearest tenth, so let's just write that as 24.5, and that's right, inches. Don't forget to include the units. Okay, it's pretty simple, class. All you do is take the circumference and just divide by pi. So let's move a little faster. Here we have 11. We're going to divide it by pi, and we get 3.5 inches. As usual, class, the more you do this, the easier it becomes. You'll start to get used to it, and you realize something like this, the top of a garbage can is 83.3 inches. We know that it's just simply 83.3, and we just divide that by 3.14. And we get 26.5 inches. Simple. Okay. Okay, so it says for number 10, the diameter or radius of three objects is given. Calculate the circumference. Okay, so in this top example, we were given the circumference and they wanted us to calculate the diameter. In these bottom three questions, they give us either a diameter or a radius, and they want us to calculate the circumference. That's also decently easy. So we always want to write down the original formula, c equals pi times d. And in this case, we're going to use 3.14, which is pi, times the diameter, which is 5. C is going to equal times 5, which is 15.7 inches. Always start with the formula, class, because we'll be using a lot of formulas from here on out. So you want to make sure you understand which formula to use. Okay, so for these next two, we'll be dealing with radius. So you don't want to use c equals pi times d anymore. You want to use c equals 2 pi r. Okay, and then it's going to be c equals 2 times pi is always 3.14, and then in this case the radius is 11. So we get 2 times 3.14 times 11, which ends up being 69. Now it does say to round the nearest tenth, so 69.08 would round to 69.1 inches. Okay, then we'll do this a little faster. We'll do 2 pi r, c equals 2 times 3.14 times 9. Okay, so then you just realize that's pretty much 18 times 3.14, which gives us c equals 56.5 inches. Sorry. Okay. I think that if they ever give you the diameter and they give you the radius, calculating the circumference is literally just plugging into the formula. Okay, so you definitely want to be comfortable plugging in values, and then once you write down all the values, you then use your calculator. Okay, I do want to see your work. Notice how I'm showing all the work. I'm showing all the steps. Showing the work proves to me that you know exactly what you're doing. If you were to just give me this, I would say, well, do you know what you're doing? Like, I don't really want the answer. I want to see the steps. Okay? Let's go ahead and do our last page of the lesson. Okay, so we have 3 word problems here, or maybe 2 word problems. Let's start. It says, Randy's circular garden has a radius of 1.5 feet. He wants to enclose the garden with edging that costs 75 cents per foot. About how much will the edging cost to surround the entire garden? Okay, so this is a realistic example of someone that has a garden with a radius of 1.5 feet. That's actually decently small. And Randy wants to create a gate, right? He wants to create a gate for this garden and kind of like a fence. And he's trying to see how much fencing he needs to go around the entire garden. Okay, so let's go ahead and just draw a little bit that the radius is 1.5. And he also says that it's 75 cents per foot. So the first thing we want to calculate is the entire circumference. Notice how, since they gave us the radius, I'm using 2 pi r. So now I just know that I go c equals 2 times 3.14 times 1.5. And there are little shortcuts I can do. So I know that 2 times 1.5 is already 3. And then I just do 3 times 3.14. And I get c is equal to 9.42 feet. However, that's not the final answer, because now Randy's going to go to Home Depot and they sell the edging for 75 cents per foot. So then really what you have to do is you then multiply this number by 75 cents, because that's the amount of feet you need. And that means this is going to equal 7.07 approximately. So Randy's garden edging will cost about $7.07. Okay, not too bad. Just have to find the circumference and then just multiply the circumference by the price per foot. Let me include a little bit more detail. Price. This is price per foot, right? Okay, number 12. A circular pool has a circumference of 251.2 feet. A toy boat is moving directly across the pool along a radius at a rate of 5 feet per second. How long does it take the boat to get from the edge of the pool to the center? Okay, so let's draw a picture to help us with the situation. So this is a pool, and the pool's circumference is 251.2 feet. And there's a boat let's draw the boat right here. That's a toy boat. And the toy boat is trying to go from the edge. I should have probably drawn it right here, but it's moving. It's obviously moving, and it's trying to see how long it'll take to actually reach the center. Okay, I'll draw another boat just so you can see that it's moving from here and it's headed towards the center. It doesn't seem like a very good picture, and I apologize. But hopefully you know what I mean by that. Okay, and it's moving at a rate of 5 feet per second. So the real question is, how long is the radius? Well, we don't know the radius, but we do know the circumference. So again, we're going to plug in to 2 pi r. But in this case, we know that 251.2 is equal to c. So I'm going to write 251.2 is equal to 2 times 3.14 times r. So it's kind of like the reverse style of question, right? If 251.2 is the entire circumference, couldn't we just divide both sides by these two numbers to isolate r? Right? We want to try our best to isolate r. So all we have to do is we take our 251.2 divided by 2, you get 125.6. Then you divide that by 3.14. And we get a solid number of r equals 40 feet. Okay. So then it also says that the boat is moving and traveling at a rate of 5 feet per second. So how long would it take for the boat to reach the center if the center is 40 feet away? Just take 40 divided by 5, and we get 8 seconds. Total distance divided by your speed is going to equal the time. Find the time it takes the boat to get from the edge of the pond to the center. Oh, I actually already solved the entire thing. Oh, the first part said find the radius. We did find the radius. The radius was 40 feet. Okay. So I guess I did this part over here, but I'll do that one more time. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but there was a formula that you probably have learned in the past, but if not, it's this formula of the distance is literally equal to your rate times the time. Okay, so in this case, we knew that the distance was 40 feet. We also knew that the rate was 5 feet per second. And then we didn't know the time. The time was x. So we just divided both sides by 5, and we got the time is equal to 8 seconds. Okay, not too bad. Hopefully this lesson was pretty straightforward for you. We're just dealing with circumference, and you can already tell that we dealt with circumference the entire day. But maybe the next lesson we will deal with the area. Take care, guys.